And Sebastien Lai, the son of Catholic pro-democracy advocate Jimmy Lai, joins us now in the studio. Sebastien, so good to see you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Tell us why you're specifically appealing to President Trump and why it's really important for you to be in Washington now.
So the U.S., we've been incredibly grateful for the support of the United States. They were the first state to call for my father's release. And President Trump has shown real leadership in my father's case. I mean, it was so moving to hear him mention my father's name. He said that, he said 100% I'll get him free. So, you know, it obviously gives the family a lot of hope, but it's not just getting him free. It would be saving his life, because under the current circumstances, there's a high likelihood that my father, who's 77 now, could die in jail in Hong Kong.
If you had the opportunity to talk to President Trump while you're here in Washington, what would you like to say to him?
That we know that I know that he's a president that gets things done. He's had an incredible record in getting people out of prison. The Hong Kong government is thuggish in how they've been treating my father and other political prisoners, and you know, I hope that he saves my father. I hope that he saves my father's life.
And we're all praying for that too. And I know that you also reached out to the UK Prime Minister, made an appeal to meet with him, an urgent plea. Where's that going? So
the United Kingdom have in the last few months have been much better on my father's case. They say that it's a priority, and you know, we're very grateful for that. It seems that it's managed. It's being mentioned. My father is being mentioned in all bilateral engagements with China, but you know, it's my father's 77. He doesn't have that long left. It's not a situation where we could pull punches, and so I need to meet with the Prime Minister, not just to show that the whole of the United Kingdom is behind my father, but also to tell these, you know, the Hong Kong government and Chinese government, that this is a top priority case, that the Prime Minister stands behind the values that my father fought for, the values of freedom, the values of the rule of law, freedom of religion, a free press.
Where do things stand right now with the trial?
So my father has been in jail since the end of 2020. His trial, his National Security Law trial, started in 2023. And he recently finished. Recently finished the cross-examination. Now it's just a blatant case of where he's been. It keeps getting delayed, right? I mean, it was, and the most ridiculous things have happened. I mean, it's a textbook show trial. 3 government-appointed judges, allegations of witnesses being tortured. And it really doesn't seem like there's going to be an end to it. So I am really worried about my father. Health-wise, he's gone much worse. Unfortunately, he's gaunt. I mean, as you can imagine, if you put a 77-year-old in a little concrete cell by himself, you block off natural light, and you know, in a situation like this, his religion, he's Catholic, religion is very important for him, and they know that, so they deny him the Eucharist. His link with God, it's absolutely horrible. And in a situation like this, my father's health has gone worse, but he was in front of the judges for a few weeks, and mentally and spiritually he's still sharp, he's still fighting, and that's, you know, as a son, I'm incredibly proud of him.
Yeah. I mean, I can just imagine what he's going through. You're painting this picture, and it's horrific. But it seems like his Catholic faith is really getting him through this during this awful time. Can you talk to us a little bit more about that?
His faith has been a real pillar. I mean, in fact, his faith is the reason why he decided to, you know, sacrifice personal comfort, wealth, and whatnot to campaign for freedom. Because he you know, as a 12-year-old a stowaway who landed in Hong Kong, he fell in love with the freedoms of Hong Kong and became tremendously successful in business. But then he felt in 1997 when he converted that actually God had given him so much that he needed to fight and defend these freedoms, and it's given him a lot of strength. You know, like he campaigned for freedom and democracy for 30 years in Hong Kong, and then when the National Security Law came down, he had the choice to leave. But that's not the man he is. He knew that by leaving he'd be abandoning his beliefs and his people, and so he stayed and risked his life to protect his people. It's a tremendous story, and a tremendous story of how faith has given such strength and direction in a man's life. And I think faith is why, even after having gone through so much with the Hong Kong government trying to break him, he's still strong. He's still holding strong. And actually, unfortunately, faith is also one of the reasons why he is being persecuted. So I'll give you an example. He got more than a year in prison. So he's been out in prison for the last 4 years. But one of the sentences he got was for lighting a candle and saying a prayer at a Tiananmen Square vigil to commemorate the people who died in Tiananmen Square in '89. More than a year for that.
It's hard for us to imagine here in the United States someone suffering like that just because of their faith, but we see that all over the world. And your father seems to be taking on the sufferings for other people going through this trial. Can you maybe expound on that a little bit? Because you and I were talking about that before we sat down, because you're not able to see your father or talk to your father, but in a way you said it's kind of worth it.
So I haven't seen him in 4 years because I speak out on his behalf. And, by staying and campaigning for freedoms and defending his people, inadvertently he chose to not, spend the last 4 Christmases with us, to not be there, with his grandchildren, with his children. And so there's pain there. There's definitely pain there. But, he stayed there because he knew that staying there was I mean, it wasn't the selfish thing to do. It wasn't the comfortable thing to do, but it was the right thing to do. And in the end of the day, you have your beliefs, and I'm glad that when my father's beliefs were tested, that he stood by them. I'm incredibly proud of him.
Yeah, what a witness. Sebastien, what will happen to your father, do you think, if he's not released?
I mean, given his age, it wouldn't be surprised that he passes away at any point. The summers in Hong Kong goes up to, 100 odd degrees Fahrenheit, and so he's in a little concrete box there, and he bakes. He bakes in there. It's inhumane. At an age when he should be retiring, taking his grandchildren to school, or playing with them in the garden and whatnot. It really is. It's a story of courage, but it's also a story of resilience. And obviously I don't want my father to die, but I don't think anybody should die for standing up for the right thing, for peacefully campaigning for democracy, and for protecting the people who stood with him.
What else do you want folks to know?
I think he'd be incredibly grateful if people told the story, but also just prayed for him. In actually one of the heated exchanges with the National Security Law judges, there's 3 National Security Law judges, and on occasions they shout at him. They shout at him. The 77-year-old man on the stand who's sort of been through all of that. They shout at him, and in a particularly heated exchange, my father said, in the end day, the truth will come out in the kingdom of heaven, in the kingdom of God, and that's good enough for me. So tell his truth and pray for him, because I think in his little cell in standing maximum security prison, it gives him a lot of strength, and it makes him known that he's not alone.
Yeah, we are praying for him. Sebastien, thank you so much. God bless you and your family and your father, and we're praying for you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much.